to You, Me, and a Fence Post, the podcast with a sibling's perspective around farming, family, friends, and other random topics. I'm Clint Schaffer.
And I'm Tara Schrock.
And thank you for joining us for episode 2.
Wow, we did make it through episode 1 without killing each other.
Oh, now the challenge is, can we get through episode 2 here?
Well, I'm thinking that we should talk about a hobby of my choice that's dear to my heart this time.
Oh no! As long as it's not singing, I'm open to talking about whatever.
I see nothing wrong with singing, but I was more thinking cooking.
Well, see, I don't see anything wrong with singing in per se, but your singing, I may see a problem with. I think that's the difference.
It's fun, but we could talk about singing and cooking.
We'll stick with the cooking. I think it'd be good to start with like what do you call your kitchen? Mom's the Bomb kitchen, is that right?
I do. I've got 3 kids, and I like to brag on myself and call it Mom's the Bomb kitchen. And however, last week my 9-year-old told me that the school's meatloaf was better than mine. So,
you know, that is such a hard thing for me to get my head wrapped around because, like, when I think of school meatloaf, I think of probably the most disgusting thing I can think of.
Same here, but you know what? Give it to our school lunch ladies in this district because evidently they whipped up a mean meatloaf.
Well, I'm going to say hats off to Mercer County School District then. So great job up there.
Absolutely. So,
all right. So we know that the meatloaf isn't good. What else are you cooking up there?
You know, I actually cook a lot in an iron skillet. Thanks to a couple of Twitter friends who showed me the way on how to cook in an iron skillet. And I cook everything in it. From casseroles to I've done big chocolate chip cookies. Like I bake in it, I cook in it. I do absolutely everything in them. But one of the all-time favorites is what I call SOS, aka chipped beef gravy, dried beef gravy. It's called a lot of different things, but to keep it clean, chipped beef gravy.
I tell you what, the dried beef gravy, first off, was one of my most favorite things to eat as a child. Like
all the time.
Yeah. And if I remember right, I think it was Carl Buddig beef, I think is what Mom used. And it was funny just on that whole part of it is it got to a point in time like later on in life, right? I don't know. This is probably like 18 and above. I probably lived with Mom and Dad way too long, but anyway, it was probably in my, after high school and Mom was no longer cooking dried beef gravy. and it was one of those, like, I finally told her or asked her, I was like, Mom, I'm like, why don't you make dried beef gravy anymore? And she kind of looked at me with this kind of befuddled look and she's like, you realize why we ate that, right? And I'm like, 'cause it was delicious. I mean,
it is. I love it.
Yeah, like, come on.
But I don't think that's why we ate it all the time.
No, it was because we were practically broke. Uh-huh. I mean, like we were farming in the 80s, late 80s, especially with the drought of 88 and 89, about put our farm under, right?
It did.
And I had no clue like to what extent that it put our farm in, right? And that's where I've always stated, I give it to Mom and Dad, they completely apparently shielded us kids from ever knowing that and tricked us into thinking dried beef gravy was a delicacy.
They did. You know what? I give it to them all the time too, because I found, so although we were corn and soybean farmers, obviously we raised cattle back in the day too. And I got to a point when I went to college that I no longer liked beef because I got down there and I called home and I was like, Mom, there's such a thing as chicken and turkey. And, but growing up, we ate beef for pretty much everything. Our meals were always that. So it was always hamburger, leftover roast beef. And it was all because they were, saving a buck and feeding their family. And we never knew any different.
Yeah. Yeah, had absolutely no clue. It's also interesting, though, as you state that, and this is probably the first time I'm sitting here thinking about it, is I said that we use Carl Buddig beef, Yet we raised beef. Why didn't we use our own dried beef?
I don't know that.
How do you make that?
I don't know. I don't know anything about dried beef either, but we did buy Carl budding meat. Yes, you are correct.
Huh. Yeah, I'm going to have to ask Mom that. Yeah, try figuring out how to make dried beef, apparently. So, oh, no, the thing, the other piece on that, I thought you were going to say, you couldn't eat beef somewhere else because you realized how bad store-bought beef was. But
there is some truth to that. Yes, very much. And it's got its benefits, though. What I learned later, after we weren't only eating dried beef, is that when we have a cookout and Mom grills out, it's all you can eat steaks now.
Oh.
It's not just one steak per person. She loads that grill up, and I'm like, yep, you can tell the worst, let's say, or the harder times are behind us now.
Well,
hopefully.
You talk about cooking enough to feed an army, right? I think you get that from her though as well, because I've been to your house quite a few times when you have made, I don't even know what to call it, a vat of soup or of chili, right? Whatever it is, but it literally is in like a miniature barrel is what you're cooking these things in.
But I've always had some older neighbors and relatives, and so they benefit from that because now I have learned that I delivery service. And so I take it around to my aunt and uncle and mom and dad and all over. And so I found a good thing to do rather than waste you just didn't make the list though.
I'm going to say, what happened here? I have not gotten one of these deliveries.
You have a wife now and she loves to cook. So.
She's a great cook. So I am blessed to have her as my cook.
What about you? So. Do you cook?
Yeah, so actually I do. I really enjoy cooking. Now, am I good at it? That's probably a different question. But no, I cook actually kind of back in those big pots of things. I love cooking chili. I've got into that a few years ago. I put a lot of green peppers and onions and seasoning, and I don't make it extraordinarily hot, but incredibly tasteful, right?
Right.
My buddy Chad told me that I should put ham in it, and actually that's a big thing that I put in there now. So I do hamburger and ham pieces.
Now, I have never done that.
Oh, it's absolutely wonderful. Wonderful. And then the other piece is you have to dice everything up so small.
Yeah.
Because every spoonful you want a little bit of everything, right? and so anyway, so that's the other trick of my trade that I do in my chili. But it takes me like 3 hours to make a thing of chili. So
well, it's growing up, I'm actually impressed that you are cooking chili because growing up, the men in our household did not as much as operate a microwave. So
yeah, I think
your ability was to get yourself a large bowl of ice cream on a daily basis. And I think Mom even did that for you on most occasions.
I still have 3 giant bowls upstairs that say I love ice cream on them. Now, unfortunately, the older you get, ice cream isn't probably the best for you, so I try to stay away from it a little bit more, but still a huge fan. So my boy up there might be actually eating ice cream as we're recording this, so who knows? No, I tell you what, I wanted to go back to a couple questions that I had for you on the iron skillet, though.
Mm-hmm.
Is it true, or is this like something like maybe I've dreamt up? Like, do you not clean these things?
You clean them because you just use hot water. You just don't use dish soap. But I just use extremely hot water, and then you kind of start all over and fry. I actually store mine with like seasoning and oil on them every time I put them up. I wash them in hot water and then I season them again with some oil and I leave them there for the next time. But I know when you're thinking about it,
I'm like, I don't know, maybe I can get behind that. Just putting the dishes away dirty, right? I mean, heck, that saves a heck of a lot of time.
Burn them off the next time, right? Kind of like a grill.
Yeah. No. Fantastic. Yeah, that's interesting. It's got to be, as you're making all of these, gourmet dishes and all these different things, baking in it, making cookies, like you said. It sounds a lot better than the pizza you've made me in the past.
Oh, well, I make to start off right on the positive note, I make a really good iron skillet pizza. Really good. Like my kids love it. they're on board with
Can
it.
I get that delivery sometime? Or
Well, so yeah, I think that my pizza skills only had one way to go, and that was probably up. In my 20s, I came home to the farmhouse. I was probably living there too. Maybe we all lived there a little bit too long. And I had a few too many coffees that night. And you and your friend were gaming. You and Mr. Chad Weeks still gaming, and we're hungry. And in my few too many coffee moments, I offered to throw in a couple frozen pizzas. And all was well. It worked out great. And I took the pizzas out and I cut them. And I realized I was holding both of them as I was walking down the basement. And I realized that I cooked one on cardboard. So that was why the crust wasn't looking so great. And then I no more set that one down, and I tripped and I dropped the pizza face down on the carpet. Yes.
Toppings on the floor. That's like...
It didn't stop you or Chad from rolling it back over and eating it. So...
I'm not proud of that moment, but I'm sure that after those it was probably like a 12-hour video game session that we were on, so we were probably just hungry. So I mean, that's just...
You guys could have been having one too many coffees too. I don't know, but regardless, you guys did eat floor pizza. So
the infamous floor pizza.
I know, but I can redeem myself now because I have an awesome iron skillet one.
Nice. The last mistake that I did cooking, the bad one, we were on vacation. We took a vacation up to Michigan to go jeeping in the sand dunes up there, and I would cook breakfast. I was like out of the few folks that were there, I love cooking breakfast. I'll wake up and I'll cook bacon and eggs, and I'll do all sorts of different things with the eggs. I love cooking breakfast.
In all my vacations I've taken with you, I've yet to see this.
I know it's maybe a new thing, So, but anyway, they had a stainless steel, but it wasn't a non-stick thing.
Okay.
And I was cooking. I can't remember what I even cooked in the thing. I totally destroyed. We had to buy them a new pot. The place that we did an Airbnb thing, literally had to go buy them a new $30 pan because I don't know if I cooked it too hot or I didn't put oil. I don't know, but I completely destroyed. I think it was mac and cheese for lunch, and I just fried it.
Well, I have overcooked in an iron skillet before, and I pitched it. I know, and you're not supposed to do that, and I didn't realize this was the very first iron skillet I had ever had. That's why I never tried it again. I pitched it, and I just thought it was unsalvageable. So that's why in my learning experience, I have learned that you can save some things, but in a cheap pan like that, probably not.
No, I don't think there was any reviving this thing. It was shot. So, well, hey, I think that wraps up our second episode of You, Me, and a Fence Post.
Thanks for joining us. We'd love to hear your thoughts and ideas, and love for you to join in. You can send us a message on Twitter at Tara Schrock and at Clint Schaffer. And thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, and as long as nobody asks you to sing, though, right? We're not taking any requests like that.
I like to sing, and one of these times you're going to sing with me. So, hey, thanks for joining in our podcast.
Hey, thanks for joining You, Me, and a Fence Post.